Thank you for joining me right now in Ron's basement. Are gold and silver going away? Are they nothing more than just barbarous relics like we've heard in the past? Well, this morning, it probably feels that way. We got this CPI report that was higher inflation than expected. Gold and silver got clobbered, right? And it's very paradoxical because in theory, high inflation should be good for gold and silver. That's what we've learned over the decades. But in the current upside down environment we live in, that's not the case. We're going to talk about this fear that gold and silver could actually go away, lose a significant amount of their value. But I also want to talk to you about a sweet spot that we could be entering in the precious metal sector, which could kind of flip things on its head. Have you noticed it all over the last maybe year or so that almost no matter what happens, whatever the news is, it generally is bad for the price of the precious metals and the mining stocks? That can and will change. We don't know exactly when, but I have a theory as to a sweet spot that we could be entering that could spell better days ahead for silver, for gold, and the precious metal mining stocks. Let's get started right now. No matter what happens with the precious metals, yes, you are always welcome to join me here in Ron's basement. I appreciate your support and that you give me some of your precious time. If you enjoy my content, you can subscribe right here. Please give the video a thumbs up. That does help the channel. Turn on the bell notifications. Leave a comment in the comment section below so we can learn from each other and learn about each other. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but while I'm a big believer in the fundamental story for silver, for gold, for the mining stocks, every once in a while, and it happened to me last night, out of the blue, I'll get this little fear like maybe this was all a big mistake. Maybe gold and silver really are items of value from the past. Maybe the world is changing, and this idea that I had to put such a large percentage of my net worth into silver, into gold, into the precious metal mining stocks, maybe that was a big mistake. But then I remembered the fact that many, if not most all, of the world's major central banks, they hold gold. And they hold a lot of gold, including the United States, but especially in the East, China and Russia. And in the East, they're actually increasing the amount of gold that they hold. And these Eastern countries are making significant moves to get independent from the US dollar and the Western money system. So you've got the Eastern countries starting their own currency, starting their own central market, central hub for precious metals trading, where they're going to have their own spot price. And a majority of the world's population lives in those countries, and they produce the majority of the precious metals. So I thought, there's no way that gold and silver are going to zero or going to, $300 an ounce for gold or $4 an ounce for silver. I just wanted to share that with you, that I think at times we can become emotional or fearful about what's going on, but we have to apply some rationality to the situation, especially on mornings like this where gold and silver have been clobbered because there was a great high inflation report, or a bad inflation report, I guess you should say, which in theory, right, should be good for the price of gold and silver. That's what we've always heard. Gold and silver protect you against inflation. However, in this upside down world in which we live, that's bad for the precious metals because high inflation means that the Fed can continue to be uber aggressive, uber hawkish with their monetary policy. That makes the dollar go up. That makes gold and silver go down. It really stinks. Hang in there. Things will get better. Now, I foresee a sweet spot emerging for silver and gold. Call me an eternal optimist if you like. Maybe I am a dummy, but nonetheless, I see us moving into a period where instead of everything that comes out news-wise is bad for the price of the precious metals, everything that comes out could be good for the price of precious metals. Because I think we're getting to a point where if we continue to have high inflation, people will wake up and realize like they aren't really going to be able to get inflation down to a 2% target rate. We're probably looking at 4 or 5% inflation, best case scenario going forward. And if they do happen to get inflation down, well, that's going to be good for gold and silver as well, because then people will think, well, they're getting inflation under control. The Fed can now become a little looser with their monetary policy. I hope that makes sense to you, that we could be getting into a position where no matter what happens with inflation and the economy, whether it continues up, right, which means inflation is really not going to be controlled by the Fed, or if it comes down, either way, I think they call that a Goldilocks environment. Things are going to start to look better for the precious metals. We're ready for it. And I believe that around 1700, maybe we get down to 1600, maybe we get to 1650. Nonetheless, I think we're at a floor level, kind of a new floor, right? It moved up over the last 5-6 years to where we are right now, and that we have a new base, a new platform from which the price can grow into that $2,400, $2,500 per ounce range for gold, and maybe $32, $33 for silver. 2-3 years out, I see even much higher prices. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. That's just my opinion based upon the extensive research that I do. Do your own research. Don't make any investment decisions based upon the information that I'm sharing with you here in the basement. No marriage decisions, nothing. Just information, but I appreciate you joining me in the basement. You know you're always welcome here. Until next time, you be well.